All right, and so for our last video, I'm going to go into a more thorough discussion of what it is I'm going to be looking for when I'm grading your blog posts. Looking again at the rubric, but in a little bit more detail, and also incorporating ideas from Language and Learning Chapter 4, which I talk a lot about when it comes to citations and how you plan on creating your blog post, right? What language you want to use for this. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you what a former student's blog post looked like. So you get an idea of what it is that I'm expecting when I say this meets the conventions of a blog post. So
it will be graded in 50 points, 20 points for analysis, 20 points for use of sources, and 10 points for design. They'll be worth 4% of your grade, each of them, for a total of 20%, 5 of them for 20%. Analysis and use of sources are the biggest, they're the most important, right? And you can see for the A range what you need to do, the B range, the C range, and the D range. Remember I told you that completing the bare minimum, doing what the assignment asks, the average is the B. Going above and beyond what is asked of you gets you the A. Overtly proves that the student understands the text and theories presented in the prompt. If you are not proving to me that you understand these things, then it goes down here. Adequately proves that, somewhat proves it, or does not prove it. Providing an accurate and sophisticated original commentary on the multimodal text, meaning you're adding your own ideas and your own thoughts, your own conclusions, maybe your own criticisms. Providing a compelling analysis of the multimodal text that shows the significance and relevance to the blog post prompt. If you're not following along with my prompt, you're not doing what I asked you to do. Clearly addresses all the essential details and guiding questions from the prompt. Next thing, use of sources. You're integrating material from the sources and discussions into the blog post so that the student's argument or viewpoint is completely clear and distinct. The idea, the viewpoint that you are presenting should be supported with material that makes your argument clearer. Consistently incorporates material from the sources and discussions that effectively support the student's paraphrasing and/or analysis, and uses more than the required sources in the prompt. You can use other outside sources, possibly other videos that you found, other blog posts that you found, other ideas that you've gone out and searched for, other discussion things that you remember from the discussions that we've had in class. That would be going above and beyond for that A range here. And then design. For the first blog post, I'm not going to worry too much about design. You do have the background in emphasis, contrast, color, organization, alignment, and proximity from Writer Designer Chapter 2. So I would like to see a little bit of multimodality in your blog post, and I'd like to see a little bit of those 5 design elements in there, right? Maybe you want to put some emphasis on something by bolding it or by highlighting it. Maybe you want to contrast things in your multimodal text by putting 2 pictures next to each other to showing the contrast between what happened in the beginning of the video versus what happened at the end of the video, right? Maybe you want to use some color in your blog post, either the color of your text or the background color or color of some pictures or whatever it might be. Maybe it should be organized in a very clear and logical way. And then you can look at proximity. Maybe you want to add some extra images or some screenshots from your video. They should be in proximity. They should be close to the analysis that you're providing at this. So those are just some of the things. I'm going to be grading it very easily for the first one, but as we learn more about design, I highly expect that your website will evolve from what it looks like now till the end of the semester. When we learn new things about design, I want you to update and revise your website to fit these ideas of design. The main things I want you to focus on is that it shows that it looks like a blog post, basically, right? Conventions of a blog post are overwhelmingly present. So for that reason, I want to show you this blog post, which represents the conventions of a blog post. Has a title page, has a nice little introduction around a moving image, right? A GIF. Has hyperlinks in them. We have breaks between the introduction and the rest of the analysis. Lots of hyperlinking here to show the websites, some of their images of ideas she wanted to include, This is what she's looking at in the very beginning, the home page, the analysis. She's showing her audience hyperlinks to our sources, which is also something I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. Emphasis with bolding here. We have proximity, analysis to image. We have proximity and spacing between. We have some symmetry, and we are playing with alignment here with images on the left, images on the right, text on the left, or text on the right, text on the left. More emphasis by making this thing huge, using the quoting feature on the blog app, having lots of images, lots of screenshots, lots of little images put next to each other to show what's going on. More images, more emphasis, lots of contrast between size, contrast between alignments. For blog post number 1, I expect to see your multimodal text that you are analyzing somewhere in the beginning of your first blog post. Maybe you should have an introduction, and then you can embed the video that you wanted to look at, or you just show the image that you wanted to analyze, or provide some screenshots of the website that you're analyzing and the different aspects of the website that you're analyzing, whatever it might be, right? So we want it to be multimodal. That's what we're trying to focus on for the entire semester here. One question that I'm sure I'm going to get a lot is looking at citations. I've stressed already that this website is your own personal website, and you can do anything you please with this website as long as I have access to your assignments, as long as I can understand and I can access all the assignments for the class. If you want to use this more as a personal website and put some of your other artistic creations on it, or your other photos, if you like taking photos, or you want to put some of your favorite music videos on there, whatever it is, that's fine with me. So in that sense, looking at Chapter 4 of Languages and Learning, you will understand that the author has the option of whatever language they want to use to create whatever bonds, social bonds they want with their audience. If you want to be very distant from your audience, then maybe you want to make your blog more academic and more formal. So you use more formal language that keeps the audience at more of a distance. If that is your plan, if that is your goal, then maybe using APA or MLA or Chicago citations would be much more appropriate, because then it fits the genre conventions that you have proposed to your audience, right? That you want this to be very formal and academic. If you want to use socially bonding language with your audience, which would be more friendly and conversational, more like face-to-face, so in that sense, using APA, MLA citations, they're going to look strange inside of your blog posts. Maybe you just want to say, according to Writer Designer Chapter 2, we know that the context, audience, and purpose are the main aspects of multimodal rhetoric, right? Something like that. According to Cheryl Ball, which is the author of Writer Designer, these are the things you might want to do. In this sense, it's completely up to you how you want to use the sources. But your audience should know that that is not your own research. If you want to use citations and still be informal, that's perfectly fine. That's kind of what she does over here, right? She takes it one step further, right? This is a lot of universal principles of design, page 22, but she likes to add some humor into it by doing something like this, because she's quoted UPD so many times, she's getting tired of doing it. So she's still using socially bonding language to bond with her audience, right? You are reading about audience, context, purpose, ethos, pathos, logos, emphasis, organization, social bonding language, distancing language, literacies, all these other things. I don't want this just to be going into your head, just to be copied and pasted and put into a blog post and you're not actually learning anything. I want this to go into your brain, and I want you to start using these concepts in real life and with our assignments. So your website should have a purpose. The context of your website at this point is for this class, right? It's brand new, being used for this class, but does it really need to have that purpose now? Does it need to have that purpose in the future? What do you want to do with it? It's based off of the audience that you want to reach. If you just want me to be your audience and you're never going to show this to anybody else, well, then your website's going to look a little bit different than somebody who really wants to get into blogging and is going to have 700 followers on their website at the end of the semester. This is what successful content creators think about. Every choice was made for a specific reason. When we see things like this, as horrible as they look, these choices were made for a reason. What we need to do to become strong content creators is we need to start focusing on these things, actually seeing them, and trying to figure out what were the conscious decisions behind these things. Are they successful? Are they an effective piece of communication?
In case you need a touch up on the basic aspects of rhetoric, ethos, pathos, logos, I have given a nice PowerPoint to you here, just going over what ethos, pathos, and logos are in case you don't remember from when you took 150. There's also some other things about digital rhetoric and the canon and modes of discourse that can help you out in trying to refresh your brain about ethos, pathos, logos, right? Traditional rhetoric. Okay, so I know that was a lot to take in, but I think it's all very important information. Everything that I've talked about in all three of these videos and my video from earlier in the week are all going to be very important parts of blog post number 1. Hopefully that clarifies any questions you might have. Obviously, if you have other questions, feel free to reach out to me on Telegram or on through email, and I will answer those questions for you. See ya.